Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we had quite the pullback over the last 24 hours. But guess what? If I could count the number of times this happened over during the bear market, I would be like, and the number of times that they were buying opportunities. Over $1, I bought so much in the bear market that I really don't have to buy these pullbacks now. I'm kind of done as far as XRP goes. Now, some of these other things that are brand new or maybe pretty relatively cheap, I might buy on these dips, but XRP, I'm pretty comfortable with what I have. Now, and the market's down to 1.8 trillion. If you think that market is never going back over 2 trillion, I've got my igloo for sale still. And when that happens, everything surges again. It's just the way this thing works, folks. Now, I wanted to show you somebody that I think kind of called where we're at, and that is yesterday, Dark Defender. We were covering this tweet. Now he says today, hi there, XRP followed exactly the same pattern we discussed yesterday, jumped towards $1.40s, then hard to retrace back to the $1 area. That's and what's last thing we mentioned below, all-time high. I will be waiting, all-time high in patience. This is what we showed you yesterday. He said can jump toward, same thing he just said, and he said can accumulate in this area slowly, and again, all-time high plus all roads to all-time high. We have less time, targets are clear. I like that. Now, yesterday, and this may have been part of the reason for the sell-off, I don't know. What I find interesting is every time these government officials in any way say anything, it always seems to be things that would hurt the investors out here. And so anytime they say anything, it causes the market to tank. Can you imagine if we had a government where when they walked to the microphone, everybody was excited about investing in their investments and they weren't in fear of what the government might do to hurt them? I mean, it's really sick what has happened across, not just in the US, but across the world in governments where we all have to live in fear of what a politician is going to do. Whatever happened to free markets and making laws that were pro development in different industries. I mean, it's crazy what's going on. But anyway, this is from Mr. B. Biden suggested capital gains tax hike to 43.4%. And the rumor of Janet Yellen suggesting an 80% crypto capital gains tax has me thinking, look, if she puts an 80% capital gains tax on crypto, I've talked a lot on this channel about the idea of that we may never sell. I can promise you I won't be selling anything if she puts an 80% capital gains tax. I'll find out a way to earn interest, and I'll show you that at the end of this video too. I'll touch on it. Okay, so, but Michael Saylor says differently, and I'll show you what he says, which I was kind of surprised by. Goldman on Biden cap gains proposals. Congress will settle on a more modest increase, potentially around 28%. It is unlikely to apply gains realized before May, and an increase effective January 1, 2022 is more likely. This is what Michael Saylor thinks about this. This guy's a CEO of a company. I can't believe he said it.
I can't just tax all the Bitcoin in California. It'll move to Wyoming. It'll move to Singapore. It'll move to Malta. And at the end of the day, you can tell everybody to go fuck themselves. You can put it in your head, memorize the freaking key, right? And it's here. And then, the classic Bitcoiner response is, oh, yeah, my Bitcoin, I lost it in a boating accident. You ever heard that phrase? It's kind of a trope, but what it means is, at the end of the day, if you push me too far, I lost it. It's gone. Sorry.
You're right.
Tax that.
Well, guess what? I know the IRS, I can promise you, it does not does not see things that way. I mean, this is just me talking out loud, But I could totally imagine the IRS saying, oh, okay, well, you lost it in a boating accident. What was the date of your boating accident? And then they'll go back and find out what the price of Bitcoin was at the time that you lost it and try to tax you on that. I mean, the world this world that some of these Bitcoin maxis seem to live in, that thinks that they're somehow going to get around the government, is insane. Not happening. These people, and I've said it before, I believe that what they're going to do is this climate change, all this stuff, and I'm going to show you in a minute. These people, I'm telling you, these mined cryptocurrencies are going to get it. You can see the narrative unfolding. They're going to get it, and it's going to be a carbon tax. They're going to slap a big, heavy-duty carbon tax of some sort on a mined cryptocurrency. I'm going to flow into that after you watch this from Bank XRP. Watch this.
He hasn't even been there a week, and yet he has, at least under this new leadership, he has said that the SEC, or he has indicated the SEC should go forward with its lawsuit against XRP Ripple, saying it is not a currency, it's more of a security, and they cannot be operating as a currency. That does not bode well for XRP holders, does it?
Well, I can't speak to specific enforcement actions, but what I can say is it's quite unusual to see enforcement actions that are in process change when a new chairman comes on the scene. So once an enforcement action is authorized, it tends to proceed.
Okay, yeah, that's all fine and good, but there's a thing called a leader, and if something is obviously not right, he could easily come in and shut that thing down. He could do it in a second. He is the CEO. He's the main man of the SEC. If he wanted to shut it down, he could shut it down, but he doesn't want to. And this is the point I made yesterday. He wants this thing to continue. This is Gary Gensler's SEC lawsuit against Ripple. This is not Jay Clayton's anymore. Gary Gensler could shut it down today if he wanted to, but he doesn't want to. So all that bureaucrat speak doesn't mean anything to me. So, all right, so moving forward, listen to this.
But will you argue for letting XRP live as a currency from your standpoint?
Well, again, I can't speak to a case that's in litigation now, which we do.
God forbid they answer a question.
Have a litigation with
Commissioner Peirce, thank you for being here. Let me just start with a blunt question. Will the Gensler-run SEC be wielding a scalpel or a machete when it comes to regulation of the crypto space?
Well, it is early days still. Chairman Gensler hasn't been in the spot for too many days now, but I think one thing we can expect is that because he is someone who's built a regulatory framework in the past where none existed, and there's definitely a call for a regulatory framework here, I think we can expect that he'll be open to the idea of building something, and I'm hoping to work with him on something.
Hester, thanks for joining.
I think that's a big load of crap too. I think these guys have been sitting on guidelines and a framework for a long time. I think they're just waiting to take it off the shelf. And I don't think it's just them. As you're about to find out, I think it's in conjunction with all these other people in government, the Treasury and everybody.
I'm only kidding about the crypto man part on mine. I mean, I barely knew what a cryptocurrency was until a couple of weeks ago. But to be frank, I know a lot of major hedge fund guys that are in this deep. They're worried about regulation, and they keep hearing that it's not necessarily going to start with the SEC, but it's going to start with Treasury. And as a matter of fact, when we asked Jen Psaki, the President Biden's press secretary, about crypto regulation, he pointed us to the Treasury Department. So clearly something is happening from Treasury. Is that your understanding, that it's Treasury that's going to give you guys the rules of the road going forward?
Well, I should say that I speak for...
All right. And so the Treasury, that means Janet Yellen. So let's look what Janet Yellen has to say about things. Listen.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is pledging a whole-of-economy approach to fighting climate change. She's speaking today to the Institute of International Finance, and in her prepared remarks, she says that investors need more reliable, consistent, and comparable ways to assess climate-related risks, and that she's working to...
All you Bitcoin maxis out there, watch closely. They're showing you what's about to happen. If you don't want to pay attention, that's on you. Watch.
Develop those standards with international partners. In addition, Yellen also emphasizes the role of the public sector.
Words mean things. Yellen on climate, zero emissions by 2050.
Achieving zero net emissions by 2050. President Biden's infrastructure package includes tax credits for clean energy investments that are technology neutral. She says the market will.
Question: if they're going to give tax credits for things that are green, are they also going to have tax penalties against things that are not? It would make sense to me.
Determine whether solar, wind, or hydropower end up being the winners. Now, her remarks come as Democrats on Capitol Hill today unveiled a similar idea, providing a tax incentive for any facility, fossil fuel or otherwise, with zero emissions. Now, under that plan, new facilities could also qualify for a production tax credit of 2.5 cents per kilowatt hour or a 30% investment tax credit. Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden, who's sponsoring this bill, said that he has spoken.
And where have we been hearing this same language? World Economic Forum, Christine Lagarde, all the same cast of characters. And what else have we been seeing? Just yesterday, Ripple tweets this: the adoption of sustainable measures across industries to save the global economy, an estimated $26 trillion by 2030. That's why we've committed to achieving a carbon net zero future at Ripple and for crypto by then. And then you have this from Chris Larson. This was just yesterday. He's calling for Bitcoin. He says Bitcoin community should consider moving to proof of work. The original dream of crypto, building a more efficient and inclusive financial system for all, is finally here. If only the industry transitions to low energy carbon technology. I know it's a bold proposal to suggest moving from proof of work, but this is Earth Day, so let's at least discuss. They're going to be pushed towards moving from it. Chris Larson, he tweeted this yesterday too. Excited to share the first project funded through Larson and Lamb Climate Initiative, a plant that converts 70,000 tons of garbage per year into negative carbon hydrogen. So it's climate. Okay, and then there was this guy on CNBC. This guy he wrote a book called Black Swan. Listen to this.
But for the average investor out there who may not have access to all of the derivatives and other instruments that you do, in terms of hedging that risk, what's the one thing you would do?
Stay out of the buy stocks that are stable, okay? And buy things you understand. Buy things you can eat eventually. If the price falls, okay? Like buy a piece of land and grow trees.
We call it a day. And that's the hedge. That's the.
All right. So I was kind of intrigued by this guy that he wrote a book called Black Swan. His Black Swan theory refers only to unexpected events of large magnitude and consequence, and their dominant role in history. Such events, considered extreme outliers, collectively play vastly larger roles than regular occurrences. More technically, in the scientific monograph Silent Risk, Taylor mathematically defines the Black Swan problem as stemming anyway. But the point is that he's talking about these black swan events and their dominant role in history. Well, what this reminded me of is this guy, Rahm Emanuel. Remember when he said, never let a serious crisis go to waste? And what I mean by that is it's an opportunity to do things you think you could not do before. Well, I believe that the current events, all the mask wearing, all the stuff that we've been watching, you have been seeing this cascade from the World Economic Forum to the current administration in the United States. There's they are very clearly not letting a crisis go to waste. And I believe that the climate change agenda is a part of all that. And don't ever forget, these are all the same people. The people they just said in that clip, Hester Pierce, the guy Gasparino in that clip, he said, what I'm hearing is that the regulation of crypto is going to come from the Treasury. You can't forget these people are all the same people. And it's not just Rahm Emanuel that thinks you never let a serious crisis go to waste. It's also the people he hangs with. This guy. And this guy just happens to be in the same room with her. They're all the same people. These are the same people. A lot of them were in, I believe, the Obama administration. Same people, same exact people. Hold on to your hats, folks, because if you're if you think that that Bitcoin and any of these mined cryptocurrencies are not going to take a hit from what they're doing and from what these people, you haven't heard Janet Yellen say one good thing about Bitcoin. All she does is talks about how it's used for money laundering and stuff like that. Christine Lagarde the same way. I've shown you the pictures of her with Christine Lagarde. But you know what you have seen? You've seen a lot of these people in the room with Brad Garlinghouse, and you're seeing Ripple with the same narrative, the same climate narrative. It doesn't take a genius to figure all this out, I don't think. Now, speaking of government, this clip caught my attention from Bank XRP. This is about the government's modern monetary theory. Listen to what this guy's sharp. Listen to what he says.
To a once again renewed popular idea called modern monetary theory. We should put modern in quotation marks because it's a very old idea. Thousands of years old, if the truth be told. But once again, it is being presented as new. And it is this. It is the idea that governments can spend as much as they want, and to pay for it, they simply print the cash. They create the money because, of course, the bank which they own, in our case, the Bank of Canada, has a monopoly on the creation of that currency. So why not just create more money in order to spend it? The only limit on the amount that can be spent is when said money creation leads to inflation, at which point modern monetary theorists say the solution is to simply raise taxes in order to reduce the demand that was driving up the inflation in the first place. So once that printed money, too much of it starts chasing too few goods, the government taxes the money back and slows down the inflation. So effectively, it is a roundabout way to massively expand government up front while claiming there's no cost, and then when prices spiral out of control, to try and tax them back into submission. Now this
exactly. And here at the end, he also makes some very good points. Listen to this.
Than you are. You're sitting in your rocking chair and cash is just falling out of your attic on your head. But if you are a working class person who rents in order to have a roof overhead, your rent is going up, your food is going up, your gas is going up, everything you buy is going up, except your wages are not. And guess what? That dream of owning a house, it's getting further and further away because of asset price inflation. So what we actually have is a government that claims it's doing all of this deficit spending to help the less fortunate, are actually carrying out one of the largest wealth transfers from the working class to the super rich, from the have-nots to the have-yachts in Canadian history. The solution to this is to control the spending, unleash free market production, replace the credit card economy with a paycheck economy, and restore the principle of sound money so that the dollars that people earn are worth what they're supposed to be worth, and that people get ahead through their labor and their effort, not through their privilege and their aristocracy. Thank you.
Questions and
What a great summary. Now, I put this, the government is no different than someone who has gotten hooked on drugs, trying to print your way out of problems created by spending more than you have. Now the government is hooked and spinning out of control, creating BS monetary theories to rationalize doing the wrong thing. And then I said this, after so many years of watching the governments do the exact opposite of what a responsible household would do with their finances, I've come to one simple conclusion. It's an intentional bankruptcy. This is what I really believe. I believe the United States, I believe the people running this country now are intentionally trying to bankrupt the country to rise from the ashes as a new type of digital economy. I believe that's what they're doing. Okay. This is one of my sponsors. I wanted to show you this. Receive rewards directly from Kava platform, minting USDX. I've been using this hard protocol on there myself. You can see these rates of return that they're giving on this platform. Also, I wanted to mention, for those of you that don't know, Binance.com. Binance is an investor in Kava. Binance.com, my understanding, is that Kava has been integrated into Binance.com, not Binance.us, but Binance.com, and that's how you're able to borrow. I think you're able to borrow and earn interest on the platform, and I think some of that is done using the Kava platform on the back end. So any of you crypto exchanges out there who are looking to have this type of thing added to your platform so that your customers could potentially borrow or earn interest on their crypto, you can give Kava a call and they can help you. All right. And I think this is, by the way, I think this is where we're all going. All these people talking about taxing you at 80% and all this craziness. This is where it's going to end up, is where I'm sitting on a platform like this just earning interest because I can't sell because I'm not going to pay 80% in taxes. That's insane. So that's where I think a lot of people will go. Also, I wanted to mention to you, Link2 is also a sponsor, and they're also in the description of my videos. You can go down. These guys have been adding a lot of private equity that accredited investors can invest in. If you are not an accredited investor, go in the description of this video. I added Link2 worked a deal where they can get you 25% off if you want to take the Series 65. The SEC put out a new rule where if you take the Series 65 and pass it, you become an accredited investor. So there's a 25% off a course. There's a link in the description of this video. That is another way if you're interested in this type of thing. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family there is a way to become an accredited investor without having to